For the first time since the 1966 season, the NOVAR Verizon Cup Series drivers will head to Daytona International Speedway, not as the season opening event. As the Verizon Cup Series driver, they will head as the 10th race of the season, as NOVAR drivers will feel as it was a normal race weekend. There were no major headlines that happened over the course of the weekend, although there were a couple of races that happened during this period. The Daytona race some notable event that happened was when Walter Euthen took a severe crash at the qualifying race. Initially it was not reported. We did get word from the hospital officials that Walter Euthen is possibly out for maybe 10 weeks due to damaged rib cage. Hopefully they should repair that, so they'll have Walter Euthen out for 10 weeks, if possible, with slightly damaged rib cage as a result of the crash. A replacement is not known at this time, but they'll have a minimum of 10 weeks out for Walter Euthen. So Walter Euthen, who is having a series of great runs over the past several weeks, got crashed out at Burlington last week. Looks like we won't see him on the track until, I believe, Indianapolis. The race weekend was primarily featured as a triple header, as it normally was, while the Verizon Cup and Gatorade Series took on Daytona, the Truck Series took on Iowa. For the Gatorade Series race at Daytona, a race which was fairly clean, only had about 2 cautions, one for a huge crash on lap 3, while the other was for a smaller crash on lap number 10. The race was dominated and won by Mick Stanton, who also won last year's event. However, Stanton won it in more of a lopsided fashion, as Stanton won in over, I believe, a 5-second margin over Ethan Littinger. The Truck Series race went to Iowa, which this should have been the best race of the weekend. However, the Truck Series never really picked up on the action from the track, and only, I believe, got 1 caution. Ivan Bradstone took the victory of that one. So since Daytona is one of a action-packed race, we should see a really good race here at Daytona. And now I'm going to head it off to Jerry Stewart. Kendall Johnson, excuse me. Thanks, Jerry. And the Aflac Bull, we're going to the number 12 of Michael Scott. His first bull since, I believe, Texas of 2009. Scott, he gets a good start over Carter Pappas of the Ford, who won the qualifying race, but was just 1 spot short of winning the qualifying race and winning the pole for this race, as they are already going 3 wide with Matt Hamlin drives to the inside of the track. There you see he is being followed right behind by Mark Mangillo, the 56. The 50 of Blake Battagliana is also following, and also I believe in the back behind the 50 is the 20 of Nick Dunnigan. As here comes Mangillo. Mangillo will get by the 28 of Matt Hamlin from assistance from the 50 of Blake Battagliana. Battagliana will try to peek to the inside, and Mangillo will shut the door and will hang on to and will stay in the inside line. It looks like car number 56 and Mark Mangillo will lead the first lap here at Daytona. There were some drivers making some strategies to avoid the potential big one that would happen on the first lap of the race. In the first few laps of the race, points leader Walter Green and Brian Wilson were 2 notable drivers, as they fell back immediately at the start of the race. But however, as you're going to see, the 39 has already caught up to the pack. I believe they just got a bad start. But staying around at the back of the field to avoid the big one, that's pretty much a good idea to know where it is, instead of being right in the middle of the field and just having nowhere to go. The 90 and 39 elected wouldn't be a good idea because they wouldn't gain any track position and have a chance to be up front. And looks like those 2 will get to the front. Are trying to make a march through the way to the front of the field, having assistance by both of them. Our first caution of the day would happen on lap number 5, as we had the 88 of Alan Kimmel and the 6 of Scott Harper would all make contact, and then they would end up and then a 13-car pileup would ensue right in front of them. So we're gonna just take a look at what happened, as here's another angle. You're just gonna see it was potential contact between the 88 and the 95. That was where the potential contact came from. So here's from another angle. It looks like it is the 88, 95, and I believe it's the 64, Brian Dawson. Scott A, he takes a spin across the infield. Scott Howard in the 25 making his first start of the year in the 25 Ritz Ford jumps over. I believe he had a bump in one of the paved areas in the grass. Here's from Scott Howard's perspective. We don't have a name card for him yet, but hopefully we'll have him in the future. He runs into the back of Shane Clark, the 30 defending champion, who Clark's had a horrendous season so far in the season, as he's crashed out of pretty much every race. On the restart, we would have Tyler Youth into the 57 on the restart with Gordon Dillard in second, James Wilson Jr. third, Walter Green at fourth, and Shane Bliss in fifth. Walter Green pretty much did a really good job trying to get himself up in front, as right now he is sitting right behind James Wilson Jr. However, he would lose a spot to Shane Bliss. Tyler Youth, on the other hand, has not had the best year so far, but looks like the 57 is showing what Youthen's got, as he looks like it is the 11th, James Wilson Jr. They will get to the inside, as Shane Bliss in the 42 looks like he'll make it 3 wide, going into the third turn around the corner. It looks like Shane Bliss will get to the lead with Brian Wilson and Shane Harden, your defending winner of this race. Even though it was then the Daytona 250, now it's like the Pizza Hut 250, as the Pizza Hut got the title brand for this car, and they don't have any Cup Series teams, unfortunately, but we'll hopefully see them as a Cup Series sponsor next year for any of these teams that need sponsorship. Shane Bliss, Jay Arnori in the 01, who I believe was the Peppy trader of that Walter Youthen situation. Looks like she'll get to the lead, as we did get the medical condition from the pre-race notes. As it looks like Arnori will get to the lead with Cameron Brooks in the 33. He will get under the 01 and will take the lead. We haven't really heard about Cameron Brooks ever since that dominant performance that he's had in the first maybe 4 weeks of the season. He's fallen off the radar, but looks like Cameron Brooks is still having a good season, is still running around the top 10 points, or even around the top 5 at points, to say for the least. There you see Sean McDowell goes to the inside with Thomas Lawyers in the 16, as they all dump Corey Von Duggan on the outside. Von Duggan's had a really good season so far in his rookie campaign, although not being the best. Sure, Encino also had a good rookie season, would trigger the next caution happening on lap number 16, as a chain reaction crash almost hits it off, and there you see Sean McDowell runs into Jay Arnori and then runs into Eddie Johns, and that creates a crash. Here's what happened to Luke Warren's perspective. Gets clipped by Billard and Wilson, and then apparently Sean McDowell runs into Jay Arnori and then runs into Eddie Johns, which I don't know what was all that about. As here's from Eddie John's perspective. There you see the wreck happening. He stays on the apron. The 07 just dumps 01, and then the 55 and 16 are collected. As the 55, he will come down the racetrack smoothly, and then you see the 16 was also in there. But the 55 would continue on. The 16 was unfortunately done, but something broke on the motor. Shane Clark III, who was involved in that lap number 5 incident, will lead on the restart with Jared Weber in second, Casey Hutto in third, Mark Mongillo in fourth. The 98 would kind of be off the pace, so the 17 and 19, they would just blast right by the 98, and Tsushima Hensio wasn't actually affected by the crash, and she's in third now. As here they come, the pack wars out of turn number 2, Jared Weber in the 17, Casey Hutto in the 19, and Tsushima Hensio in the 97. As Hutto decides to bump draft to 17, and looks like Hutto will go to the inside. As here comes the number 42, and Shane Bliss gets a good run. Casey Linger, the 5, Bliss's teammate, is also in there. As there you see the 89 of Aaron Fisher is also going to be up there. Jay Arnori is also up there. And apparently, I believe that's Carter Pavson. The 4 is also up there. Bliss will take the lead with Casey Littinger and followed behind with Aaron Fisher. Aaron Fisher, who is in an independent team, is actually allied with the Hal Wilson Racing Team and this team. Looks like Fisher will go to the inside and will try to take the lead in a 3-wide battle. So coming around the turn number 3 and 4. So car number 89 of Aaron Fisher, he will take the lead with Jay Arnori and Carter Pavis following right behind. So we are seeing some really good racing going on. As you see, Carter Pavis will dump Arnori out of the way. It looks like the 4 will go for second with Daniel Salomon and the 99, who crashed down at Burlington last week. Looks like he is also there. Our next caution fly on lap number 24 as Mark Spell spin and gets J Jr. As that was a big crash and a big mistake by Marcus Powell. Both of them would make it to the pits. However, both of them would retire from the race due to damage sustained. And then you see Shane Harden exiting the pits. He was black flagged due to, I believe, passing on the restart. We'll have to check that out and see. But I believe that's why I believe he hit it. It wasn't for any fuel issues, whatever. And then you see the 19 of Casey Hutto leads on the restart with Evan Brooks second, James Wilson Jr. third, and Jared Weber in the fourth spot. As they're going to now head off of turn number 4. It looks like Casey Hutto in the 19 is just going to... Looks like Harden and Blake will interfere with the way. And interfere with this pack. Dawson's also off the lead lap, by the way. As here is the Hutto just blocks out the outside, even though he can just block the inside. As you know, the 2 lap cars are already there. Jared Weber makes a hurdle go for the lead. He actually gets under the 19 before the 19 of Hutto could shut the door. It looks like Casey, the 17 of Jared Weber, will get to the lead. And oh, contact! Near crash, and Carter Pappas in the 4. Almost gets turned sideways, but that will turn out to be the caution. So, that was not the only thing that happened. Here's from Carter Pappas. Here's what happened to Carter Pappas. He tries to slow down. Brian Wilson and Tsushiro Encino and Gordon Billard get together. And then Brian Kittleson, Nick Dunnigan, and Michael Scott would all pile in. Let's take a look from Nick Dunnigan's perspective. He tries to slow down, and then he runs into the back of the 53. The 12 is also collected. The 12 got minor damage, but that would knock the 12 off the pace. And Scott is just not happy with Nick Dunnigan, and will put him off to the side. Jared Weber will lead on this restart with Aaron Fisher in second, Shane Bliss in third, with Jared Weber is also up there. As Jared Weber, who is right now just lurking with the top 10 in the points, hasn't had the runs that he's needed over the past few weeks. However, whenever he's up front, he'll most likely stay up front, unless if someone is willing to try and take him out, which that would really get NOVAR. That would get the entire officials all mad. But otherwise, Weber is having a good race so far in the 17 car. Aaron Fisher is also having a good race up there. Brian Dawson, they're going to try to make it 4 wide. However, we would have our biggest crash happen on lap 35. Alan Kimmel and Walter Green make contact, and then a huge pileup ensues. Dawson's in there. Evan Brooks, Casey Littinger, Mark Mongillo, several drivers who are running up front for most of this event. Keith Hales is also in there. Let's take a look from another angle. 39 gets turned around, your points leader. There you see Wilson is also in there. Brian Dawson also in there. And there you see, whoa, Eddie Johnson, Michael Scott almost slide into Walter Green. Here is Walter Green, another angle of Walter Green. Looks like Wilson runs right into the back of Dawson. I don't know what was all that for, as Brian Dawson was actually hitting at the time. The 39 would continue on. And then here's from Cameron Brooks' perspective. He hits the 39 and then turns sideways, but gets hit back in the direction by the 56 Mongillo. He actually pretty much avoids the rest of the wreck. And here you see Blake Tagliano, Shane Clark the third is also in there. So a pretty big crash happens on lap 35. We had a big crash happen about around the same time. As there you see Daniel Samlon, he was involved. He hits Mongillo and tries to come back up the track, but gets run into the 97 Tsushiro Encino. I don't know where the brakes are in this wreck. So third was also in there. Brian Wilson trying to avoid this wreck. Mark Mongillo just runs into the 99. And there you see A. Johns and Michael Scott just have no idea what they're doing. As here's from Mac Hamlin's perspective, this is how you're mostly supposed to avoid a wreck, although he runs in the back of Mike Hogan. As there you see, he slows down. Dawson just runs right into the 28 for no reason. But other than those two things, Mac Hamlin does a really decent job at avoiding this wreck. He will slow down for the 98 and 99. And then this is how you're mostly supposed to avoid a wreck. This is from Shane Dargan in the 32. There you see the wreck in front of him. He slows down. Almost hits the 0-1 at full speed. I don't know what was that for. But however, uses the brakes when it's needed. Uses the brake. But other than he just runs in the back of the 6. But that doesn't really do anything with the 32. Shane Dargan. And then here's from Sean McDowell's perspective. This is how you're actually supposed to avoid a wreck without any contact. As he runs right through the entire pack. I don't know where his brakes are. But I believe that was just luck right there by the by the 07 is Sean McDowell. So good driving by McDowell there. And then here's where here's where it began. Walter Green and Alan Kimmel, and it just doesn't seem to look intentional, as Walter Green probably ran at the racetrack and somebody runs into the back of Kimmel. Last week there was contact between Green and Kimmel, so I believe the rivalry between these two have started to get a little bit more intense as a result of that. So I believe we're gonna see this is all the cars involved, 24 in total, and you're gonna see the status on their right. Harper and Honorari continued on. Warren, Peyton only got minor damage, only got clipped from that crash, but he was considered involved. There you see Nargan, Brooks, Green, Battagliana, and Evan Brooks would all continue on. The rest of the cars all dropped out. The 17 of Jared Weber led on the restart with Aaron Fisher in second, Casey Hutto in third. So it looks like it is going to be at least a drag race, as looks like Fisher and Weber will get a good gap over the entire field, as Fisher and the 17, they have been really good, especially Fisher. Fisher had a really strong car at Burlington. However, I believe he screwed up in some portion of the race and fell back, but I believe he got his score to top 10 in that race. So it was a great race run by the 89 of Aaron Fisher. Jared Weber also has had great races in the past, notable 2011 season, where he failed to qualify for about 4 races. Like, he failed to qualify for every race except for one, which was, I believe, at every race. And then here is next caution happened on lap 45. Contact between Luke Warren and Shane Hart that sends the 01 and 39 around. The 39 would drop out. On the restart, Jared Weber led on the restart with Jake Killen, but however, Clipser missed it. David Payton and Chandler Blake got into an own miscue as Blake tries to go into pit road. So our Clips missed the restart, but here is, but since it is quite a long run, Jake Killen in the 76, we're talking about him. He restarted second. We haven't really seen him up front a lot over this course of the year. Last year, Jake Killen, who I believe was running around the top 15 most of the time. Killen, we haven't really seen him a lot up front, nor have you mentioned him, as Killen's been mostly a midfielder over the course of the season. So it looks like Killen is finally getting his name phrased. Casey Hutto, which we mentioned a couple of times over the course of this race, as Hutto actually needs a good run, as we haven't really seen him a lot. Hutto's best efforts in the 2011 season came at Nashville, where he won, and he almost won in other occasions last year, but Nashville was the one that he nailed it on perfect. He beat Nick Dunnigan in a one-lap shootout, which Nick Dunnigan has unfortunately had a bad season. Another driver having a season of difference is the 24 David Payton, which we are looking on the in front of him. Payton's had a really stellar season so far, as last year for the past couple of years, Payton has been known to be running around the 20s, but this year going into this weekend, he was third in points going into this, actually fourth in points, excuse me. And this season has been really good, as Payton has been around the top 10 for pretty much the entire season so far. So a really good showing for the 24 of David Payton, which looks like he was being challenged for the position by Casey Hutto. So two drivers that we are talking about has had a season of difference over the comparisons from last year to this year. It looks like Casey Hutto in the 19 will be a spoiler maker. Can Casey Hutto be a spoiler maker in this one, as they're going to close in on Jake Killen and Aaron Fisher in the 89. Our next caution would fly out on lap number 55. Kyrie Hutton spins and hits the wall. It almost takes out Nargan, Honorari, and McDowell. I don't know what that one was all about. I can understand Marcus Powell was a rookie, but Kyrie Hutton was a rookie in 2008. Kyrie Hutton could have been excused in 2007. So I don't know why in the world that Kyrie Hutton would do that. That's why some notable reasons that Kyrie Hutton's had a terrible season. Aaron Fisher 89 is your racer there with Blake Battagliana in second, Corey Von Duggan in third, Luke Warren fourth, and I believe, can't tell who's that. Actually, Shane Narkin's in fifth. I believe some of those cars did not pit under that caution, so that's why they are there. Shane Harden in 59 despite being one lap down, has actually hung around with the leaders pretty much most of this race. So a really good performance despite being one lap down by Harden, just hanging on with the leaders. That's what you're supposed to do. If you want to get your lap back, you're supposed to hang around with the leaders and then try to pass them. A strange incident happened on pit road between Jake Kierland and Jared Webler. I don't know why they were playing in pit road, but that's not how you're supposed to exit pit road. Both of them would drop out of the race because of that, which I don't get why, because both of them only had minor damage in the end for that, so I can't really say anything about any of the pitting or dropping out or whatever, because that just doesn't make any sense. Our next caution will fly on lap 67. Sean McDowell spins out into the track. So it looks like another driver that's... Oh, he almost takes out the leaders in the process! So the leaders also almost got taken out of that. And then Chandler Blake decides to join into the fun and spin out as well. Which we saw something similar to that. Mike Hogan was the driver that happened last year. Hogan's already out of the race. Our crews missed the restart again, but Casey Hupto was the race leader. With the 59 and 15, they get one of their laps back. Now Chandler Blake, I believe, he got one of his laps back, so he's down 5 laps now. Already got back on the lead lap, but that won't be for long. As there you see Aaron Fisher in the 89, he's gonna take the lead from Hupto and also relap the 59, and gonna put the 15 back 6 laps down. As that's how it's pretty much been for the entire race, as those two have been off the lead lap. Our Sean McDowell would cause another caution on lap 77 and would almost take out the field as he drives off before anybody runs right into the back of him. As despite all this mess, the only time that somebody was actually hit was when Marcus Powell got hit by IJ's Jr. David Payton led on the restart on lap 81, but that the 24 of David Payton is leading on this restart with 19 of Casey Hupto. Looks like Harden is going to get there in second. Actually, Harden's going to get second in line. So, looks like it is possibly a drive by the 59 of Shane Hart. Chandler Blake is also there. There you see, I believe, Aaron Fisher tries to make it 3 wide and tries to get some ground to help get a run, catapult to David Payton. Payton has just snuck his way into the lead. This is, I believe, this was the second time today that the 24 has been in the lead. As there you see Sean McDowell pits and done. We don't know when he's going to cause another caution, as we're just going to pray he doesn't cause another caution, as we're going to see that. And we have our next caution happen on lap number 88, as, of course, Sean McDowell will spin coming out of the pits and will almost take out the field. However, unlike the last few cautions, this will actually be a benefit to actually Shane Harden in the 59, as you're going to see pretty soon in this clip. As here he comes towards the line, Harden will actually beat David Payton, who is the leader, back to the line, and this will put car number 59 back on the lead lap with taking the restart, which would be on lap number 92. As this is the restart. This is with 9 laps to go. Excuse me. As Casey Hupto, Aaron Fisher are also up there as we restart single file with less than 10 laps to go. There you see the 24, David Payton is going to try to make him, at least try the inside line and see if Aaron Fisher in the 89 can get there and have help from the 15. Looks like Chandler Blake will dump the 89 out of the way. And it looks like, but however, Fisher will get the run down the backstretch and will draft behind the 24, David Payton. These two drivers, like, this is how it'll fold up. The 24's last win came in Indy of 2009. Fisher's never won a race. Luke Warren has not won a race this season. Casey Hupto has not won since Indianapolis, since Nashville last year. Harper has not won yet. Corey Von Delga has not won yet. And Jay Honore has not won in a while. She hasn't won since Burlington of 2007. I was right. And then you're going to see, let's say, Harden has not won since Dentsville of last year. And then you're going to see Sean McDowell. Let me see. Yes, that is Sean McDowell in the 07. So it looks like McDowell still has a shot. There is David Payton. Payton's going to try to take the lead. After Fisher took the lead away from the 24, it looks like David Payton will take the lead back. It looks like David Payton was going to lose the lead to Aaron Fisher. It looks like Aaron Fisher's going to get a charge. McDowell's entering the pits again, and this is probably going to be a nightmare for the drivers. As David Payton, he already takes the lead away from Fisher. Fisher is going to now try to look for a crossover. As you see, there is Scott Harper in 6 and Shane Nargan in the 32. That's the battle for third. Fisher goes to the inside. Looks like he will try to get the second spot. Actually, at the lead away. Excuse me, right there. Shane Nargan is in second. Looks like the battle for third is right behind. That is between the 6 and 32. And they are closing in. However, they are not closing in as that fast. So it looks like the battle for third has closed in. And look who's already up there. And is about to take third away from Shane Nargan. Yes, Shane Harden in the 59, who was a lap down for pretty much the entire race and has now climbed up to third. So what a drive by the 59 of Shane Harden, who has just been stuck behind in lap traffic for pretty much the entire, has been stuck as a lap car for pretty much the entire race. Gets back on, fights his way back on the lead lap, and now has a shot to win this race. The last time that a lap car was a lap down for more than 80% of the race and has come back and won it. The last time that's happened was back in 2007 when Stephen Volk went to victory lane. He was 2 laps down, was 1 lap down at Boston, got back on the lead lap on lap 137, and then due to strategy, got back on the lead lap, and passed pretty much everybody to win the race. Although in the truck series Brent Calahoney won it from 2 laps down and on, and we got the yellow lights have just come on, so now this is the race for the win. I say it's Shane Harden in the 59, tries to get help from Casey Huto in the 19. Huto tries to get to the bottom, so it looks like, however, can't get the run. Harden's trying to get there to the win. Pate's has a good, comfortable gap. Fisher has the run. Harden tries to get down, but can't do so. And looks like it will become the battle for second, because looks like the 24, David Payton, will beat everybody back to the caution flag. So car number 24 will beat Fisher back to the caution. Let's see what happens. And of course, it's Sean McDowell ruining the race, and he almost takes out Blake Wittegling in the process. NOVAR officials were furious at Sean McDowell and called him to the hauler after the race, and this should be really interesting to see what the outcome is. I should expect possibly some points deduction, if not a suspension. So McDowell will, and since this caution came out with less than 5 laps to go, this will end the race. As you see, McDowell comes back on the track, and coming at a blistering 90 miles an hour, David Payton scores his first win since Indianapolis of 2009. Fisher second, Harden from 1 lap down to third, Casey Huto fourth, and rounding out the top 5, that is, I believe, the 14 of Luke Warren.